So when I was 17 years old, somewhere between high school and college, we didn't have a lot of problem getting drunk. We had actually mastered the art of getting drunk and the process of getting there. We had worked out a location in the worst part of Philadelphia that was willing to sell us Ballantine Ale. I think probably because they had an excess of Ballantine Ale, they were not particular about how old we were. So we had that line worked out. We also had a basement that we could periodically sneak into and get away with murder. It was what some people would call absent parenting today, but we thought they were the greatest parents in the world. But we also, when we couldn't go anywhere else, we had the budget motel in King of Prussia, which we called the Bougie Motel because we were drinking Ballantine. We had to be classy about the whole thing. So one particular night we decided to have a party at the Bougie, and we loaded up the car. We went down to the Ann Johns, down in the worst part of Philadelphia, loaded up the truck with Ballantine, put it in Steve's trunk, drove it there, waited till it reached proper temperature, 120 degrees, and we opened the doors and brought in all of our friends. And we had this great party until we ran out of booze. So my friend Steve says, you know what, I got some vodka back at my place, but I can't drive, so if anybody will take me back there, I'm more than willing to share it with everybody. I'm like, hey, you know what? I've only had 14 beers, I can drive, not a problem. So we decided, okay, we're going to take this road trip, we're going to run back to Steve's house. And for some reason, I'll call them the M brothers, so in case they ever see this on Facebook, the M brothers decided to join us. Now, the M brothers were the linebackers on the football team, so collectively they probably weigh in about 550 pounds. And I was driving a Renault car. So if anybody knows what that is, it's a little European car. Typically you see 100 clowns getting out of one of these cars because they're that tiny, right? And so we're driving down 202. We get off at the Chesterbrook exit. It's been raining a little bit. And all of a sudden I find that we're doing 360s. So we're spinning around in circles and bam, we slam up against the guardrail. I get out of the car and I see that the front end of the car has been smashed into the wheel. Fortunately, Renault cars, French cars, not saying anything about the French, but this car was not made of steel, it was made out of aluminum. So I was able to pull out the fender sufficiently to be able to get us all back inside this car, and on we went. We went back, we got the vodka, we drove all the way back to the hotel without a problem, until we got there. And we're walking back to the hotel room, we hear, whoa, 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 where do you guys think you're going? And it's the security guard for the hotel. Yeah, the budget hotel has a security guard. His parents are so proud. So he's, everybody needs a job, I'm sorry. So he's thwarting this power that he has because he's saying, well, your car's not properly parked in this parking spot, and I'm going to call a tow truck and get it out of here. I'm like, well, I'll move my car, not a problem. He said, no, you've been drinking. I don't think so, my friend. So I look over at the brothers, the M brothers, and they proceed to walk over and lift the Renault car and properly position it so it's properly parked now. Not a problem, right? So, crisis averted. Of course, he asked us to leave at that point. So I have to go home, and everybody departs and goes their own separate ways. I'm driving back on my own personal speedway, back behind all the roads that I know forever, and driving responsibly, of course, because I'm 17 years old. And once again, having not learned anything about spinning out earlier in the evening, I find myself in another circumstance where I'm spinning around. And this time I go off the road, and my nose is in a ditch. The ass of my car is sticking up in the air about 6 feet. And I try to get myself out of there by manipulating the clutch like I'm stuck in a snowstorm, and not like this in the air. So I'm back and forth, I'm making about 4 inches of progress at a time. And all of a sudden I'm not doing anything anymore, because the car's just whining and whining and whining, and I'm smelling this strange smell. And I'm not a mechanic, and I wasn't certainly still not, but I know that when the car doesn't want to move anymore, something's wrong. And it turns out that I fried the clutch on it. So it's not going anywhere. I've resolved myself. the good news is I'm only a half mile from home, so I can walk home, right? So resolving myself, I'm gonna have to tell my dad, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get killed, they're gonna find out I've been drinking. I walk down the driveway and there's a beacon of light at the end of the driveway. It's the family car. I'm like, you know what? I'm not done yet. I can take this car and get that car out over there and nobody's gonna be the wiser. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, who's gonna even know, right? So I jump in the car and I pull over to where my other car is, drive back out of there. And it goes through this process where I'm back and forth, making progress, not making progress. And this continues for a couple more minutes. And so now I've had some experience with what a fried clutch smells and feels like. So when it happened the second time, I knew exactly what I'd done wrong. So I knew that it was helpless, and so did the police when they came around the corner. Yeah, it's not fun when the cops laugh at you, it really isn't. They finally called my dad, woke my dad up, had him come out and said, yeah, we're retaining your son down. Could you come and collect him and your 2 cars? You might want to call a couple tow trucks. So my dad ended up calling the cop, coming out, he collected me, he ended up getting it towed out, and I got in a lot of trouble, I got grounded. So really there's 2 wake-up stories here. The wake-up call to my dad, would you please come and collect your son? And the second wake-up call, the lesson that I learned from all of this. I mean, there were clearly more than one lessons involved. I shouldn't have been drinking, I shouldn't have been underage drinking, I shouldn't have been driving and drinking. But the lesson that really, the wake-up call and the epiphany that I have, and I still carry to this very day, is never, never, never buy a car with a manual transmission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Andrew, everybody.